If you checked it out last time, I kind of left off with this Mad Hatter design that I kind of went for the inspirational rather than the actual. So I hope everyone is doing well tonight. It is absolutely raining on and off, non-stop here in Sydney. Which will guarantee that winter will be wet. Either that, or we technically won't actually have a winter per se. We'll just sort of have a. Hang on. I'm just gonna plug in my headphones. You know how it is, guys. Just like me to make sure that I've got everything plugged in and working the way it should be. Welcome back to Sketch Jam. So today was a bit of a chaotic old day for me. It's unusual to have the roof just sort of come tumbling down, but that's pretty much what happened. So it's been raining so much that it caused one of the rooms in the house to have a small but substantial collapse. So yeah. So what I'm doing with the hair here is I want to have it like phone cord ringlets. I want it like springy and weird and delightful. So it's definitely, yeah, wet weather where I am, that's for sure. I recently got back into playing, what's that game called? Marvel Rivals. And I gotta say, it looks amazing. Like the amount of work that they've put into making all these characters look so cool. And so not how they typically appear. But at the same time, very familiar. Like I grew up with games like X-Men versus Street Fighter, and that I have to say was my first like real introduction to the way these superhero characters are supposed to fight and move outside of the very controlled environment of, like, the animated series. Hey, Toodle 4.0, how's it going? This one I'm drawing. He's sort of a version of the Mad Hatter, but instead of the unbirthday Mad Hatter, he's the actual birthday Mad Hatter. So he's like he's a bit of a, I guess, an alternate skin version. So I've been getting back into all these like old classic video games. Because yeah, recently video game movies have just sort of exploded in a level of popularity that we've never really seen. And I know I talk about this quite often, but I grew up in a time when a video game movie meant like the 90s Super Mario Brothers, where um, nothing really looked like the game. Um, you had to sort of think outside the box, and the representations were a little bit too. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, when you sometimes go to conventions and stuff, and there's that They're those cosplayers that show up, and they're sort of just wearing like regular casual clothes, but they're in the same like color as the character that they're trying to portray. And they're just extremely understated versions of like that particular, you know, pop culture icon. And yeah, that's kind of how I would describe the Super Mario Brothers movie from the '90s. It was very like, yeah, kind of had to squint. One of those like it was a bit like the equivalent of a uh, a magic eye picture. You ever remember those? Like now that the '90s have sort of become into vogue as like the decade to really like be nostalgic about. Like at this point, the '80s is basically over. I mean, you will get people still sort of reminiscing and trying to keep their favorite franchises alive, but the '80s at this point is pretty much dead. But the '90s, yeah, that was a decade where things got very interesting and very cool. Because it was the first time that we really saw, you know, the first real glimpses of computer animation that wasn't like blocky and weird. Like we saw some CGI in movies like Tron and stuff, but it was extremely primitive. I mean, it also shows up in Star Wars and there's a few other movies that have like very basic CGI. But I think I speak for a lot of '90s kids when they first saw Homer Simpson as a 3D model in the Treehouse of Horror episode where he falls into the third dimension. That was mind blowing. That like rocked everyone's world. That was one of those moments in pop culture where you went to school or you went to your job the following day after seeing that and just like, just talking with your friends or your co-workers or whatever and just saying, "Did you see that? How did they do that?" It's just like far out. Like that's how far the technology had, progressed since like the first seasons of The Simpsons. Which, if you ever go back and watch like the clips from the Tracy Ullman show, they are virtually unwatchable, and they're barely recognizable as actual, episodes of The Simpsons, but there was something there. There was something truly amazing and weird. You could tell that they were onto something. So yeah, I am looking forward to a lot more video game movies because I think that's kind of the genre that will typify like the 2020s going into the 2030s. It's like we can't really do superhero movies like we did back in the 2010s. Um, we'll definitely try to make some period pieces and whatnot, but as far as certain genres are concerned, like there's just no like returning to that kind of state where enjoying whatever they decide to churn out, that's like a non-starter these days. And that's interesting because like you just think, well, okay, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to watch it if you don't want to, but saying that is a very like old-fashioned and very outdated response to like media criticism, because there's so many other options out there that just like a feature-length movie that's being kind of review bombed before it even comes out. Sort of like telling people to go touch grass or something as a response is generally unwise. I don't know why that's taking so long to reload. Come on. There you go. Alright, let's see. Mad Hatter. So Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter. Definitely weirder. Very Tim Burton-y. But strangely enough, not gothic enough. Having crazy eyebrows and crazy eyes. But all in all, like pretty easy going and mild as compared to the other versions of the character. He actually is pretty good as the Mad Hatter. I do like how Johnny Depp's version really emphasizes how much of a ginger he is. Like, I don't think he's actually ginger in the book. But he honestly could be. You never know. Johnny Depp has one of those amazing ranges of acting where he's like a naturally charismatic and good looking man, but he totally thrives and he is absolutely in his element when he's being like a weirdo. Like his version of Jack Sparrow is, solid gold, top notch. Everyone loves it. It's a shame about his relationship with his ex. And that was a while ago, but it got me thinking about um, the strangeness and the weird, like, lingering hostilities that can sometimes happen between professional people. It's like when Johnny and Amber broke up. Um, they ended up having to go to trial, and that was like broadcast, and you could tune in and watch it and everything like that because it's just fascinating stuff. Like, you know, it's just a it's just a dispute between former partners and everything, but to the average person at home, that's just wow. What's going on here. And the guy who was I don't know, like an attorney or something. He was he had Johnny Depp in the witness chair or whatever, and he was just sort of bringing up the fact that, like, he's been in so many movies and everything like that, and it's like, oh, you were in this and that and the other thing, and you actually acted side by side, and this particular film, and that's where you met and everything on the set of such and such a production, and and the thing is, like, Johnny Depp has been acting in movies since like 1984. Like, Amber Heard, I think, was a baby when Johnny Depp was in his first movie. And I think it was like Nightmare on Elm Street. It was one of the Freddy Krueger movies, like the really, really early ones. I think it was may have actually been the first Freddy Krueger movie that he was in. And yeah, it's just fascinating stuff, because you just think, there's such a big age gap between these two. It's like you kind like outside of their profession, you struggle to think, just as a casual outside observer, what they would actually have in common, and it turns out it was nothing. He was rich and famous, and she, thought that she could sort of do the whole fake it till you make it kind of thing, and it just blew up in both their faces. But the interesting thing that was said on the, I think it was like when he was giving his testimony or whatever, is Johnny Depp. When he was asked about how many movies he was in, he said, "Oh, look, I've been in heaps of movies, you know." And I think he said like he doesn't actually keep track of how many movies he's been in because he's just been in so many, and that's like pretty normal if you're a constantly working actor, because you eventually start to see acting in movies as a job because that's what it is. You show up to work, you prepare you put on your uniform, or in their case, like they get into hair and makeup, and they just do their performance, and they get paid, and they go have a break and have something to eat, and they wait till their agent calls up and says, "Hey, we've got another job for you. Are you up for it?" And like they say yes or no. And working in entertainment myself, I totally get it. I totally see why that is the thing. And when he was asked about his movies and everything, and do you watch, do you actually watch? And he says, "I don't actually watch the movies I've been in." And that's interesting. That always struck me as fascinating because, yeah, you don't, like, as an artist, you don't really want to go back and rewatch something that you did or didn't do in a job that you were hired to do, because it's kind of like, hey, here's a photo that you were tagged in. So in many ways, being a movie star, being an actor, and being asked that same question, have you seen your own movies, and having to be very blunt with interviewers and stuff and say, yeah, I don't watch the movies I've been in, because it is to them like being tagged in somebody else's photo, or they maybe see it as bad luck, or they just don't like what they look like on screen. Hey there, how's it going? Oh, thank you very much. Let me know if I've been babbling on a little bit too long. So yeah, I'm looking at doing some more fan art stuff. So I got into what's it called? Marvel Rivals for the first time in years at this point. Like I hadn't played that game ever since it came out, and yeah, it was good. Like it was a fun time to just jump back in. And I mean, they are like regularly introducing new heroes and stuff, and they've actually made some specifically for the game itself. Like there's this Fox character which is basically I can't remember her name. She's from League of Legends, and she's basically that version of that character but for the Marvel universe. And it's just like, oh, okay. but she's not actually like a official Marvel superhero. She's just sort of she's made specifically for the game by the game developers, and I find that like pretty cool. So what I want to do here is sort of like really drill down to what I want to make with these characters. So here's something I produced earlier. And it's all about like sort of you want to collect as many references as possible and just sort of like start to blend them in. I've got a bunch of live work I want to get done ahead of. We've got a convention coming up this weekend, so I'll be working towards that too. Just little things along the way. Also, the great thing about this character is he is a direct inspiration for King. I think his name's King Candy or something like that from Wreck-It Ralph. Now is a that is a video game movie that I love so much because in many respects it is the spiritual successor to Toy Story, but instead of being about toys, it's about video games. But it's essentially the same premise. Not to put too fine a point on it. So essentially what I want to do with this is have these versions of the same character sort of interplay. So if you are in the comments and you recognize these versions of the same character, feel free to chime in. Ooh. That's great. Yeah, so if you've ever seen American McGee's Alice, that's what that's from. Yep. And this is the version from Batman the Animated Series. I had to sound like a chef on television from the 90s, but here's something I prepared earlier. I like using the opportunity to draw established like other characters to kind of get a real feel for how I'm going to actually tackle the final product. Because sometimes you get like, for me, I don't ever run out of things to draw or get like, stuck, but every now and then, like it does happen to the best of us and sometimes to the worst of us that you do get like a mean case of the old artist block. It's not a fun place to be. Yeah, Mad Hatter from Batman. That's a weird one. because like he is truly a disturbing and frightening character whenever he sort of appears outside of Alice in Wonderland. And I think the guy that can't think of his name, Tim something. What was his name? Who designed the characters in Batman the Animated Series 1992? Ah, that's right. Yeah. It's not Tim, it's Bruce Timm. Yeah, so Bruce Timm was the original character artist for Batman the Animated Series. Okay, so now I've got these versions of the character kind of locked down. So I'm thinking of doing like a chibi version of him as well. So he's got all these interesting streamers attached to him. And I guess I'm one of them because I'm an interesting streamer. As a legend in my own lunchtime, as it were. return to this guy here. I'm going to quieten down the hair a bit. It doesn't need to be all springy and weird. In fact, I'm going to redraw it entirely. Hey there, Court. Long time no see. Yeah, it's good to be back. I mean, I have been fairly active on Twitch just with gaming and stuff, but just getting back to what I do best, I think, is pretty much the best course of action for what I'm doing. Like, I started out as an art streamer. I should just keep being an art streamer. I think doing too much gaming is definitely weighing down my the creativity part of it. I just think, you know, it's just so much easier just to jump into a game and just go for it and everything like that. And yeah, you kind of get a bit lost in what you're doing. I seriously, I played Diablo 2 for oh, thank you very much. I actually am a cartoonist. I played Diablo 2 Resurrected for about what was it, 11 hours over the course of 2 days, and I'm just thinking, why am I playing this game for so long? Like, I know how it ends. I played this as a kid. Why am I playing it again? And yeah, it's yeah, one of those fascinating moments where you just think, oh, I'm wasting my time. I can't be here. I can't be doing this. But yeah, how have you been? I think like the last time it was like last year. I think was the last time that we got a chance to catch up over the live stream. It's been pretty wild these last 12 months. make his head really big. His body real small. Oh. Really push the envelope when it comes to getting that rough. I got to get that rough out. Like this is actually more me procrastinating than anything else, because I just kind of thought, yeah, I'll draw these versions of the Mad Hatter instead, and I've really got to focus on getting this guy drawn. He's not as complicated as he looks. He's just wearing like a normal suit, two-piece suit. He's got the vest on, and he does have a rather loud-looking bow around his neck. I'm gonna free up his hair a little bit. His hair's too smudgy. So now I'm going into lightning mode. This is where I draw as fast and as freaky and free as I can. And it kind of reminds me of a song I used to listen to. Freaky and Free by Spearhead. He's very much Mr. Magnolia, as well as the Mad Hatter. Before my iPad starts getting a little too hot. And we've just hit the 1 hour mark, so I'm just gonna bung this on my hand. Oh man. So yeah. Last week I really hit the gym like super hard and everything, and I kind of may have overdone it just a tad, just a smudge, just a snudge, and yeah, I forgot about recovering from muscle soreness. Can usually take anywhere from 5 to 7 working days. because I used to work out a lot, and I kind of just went off the boil for about a year and a half. And the thing is, like, your body will slowly return to its natural, like, unexercised state. Like, it just, like, entropy is a thing, and unfortunately, you know, if you're not prepared to work out or at least get your steps in as frequently as possible, your your muscles, your skin, your bones, even your hair will just sort of gradually kind of return to a sort of a pleasant, slowly decaying neutral, which is about as brutal as I can describe the aging process. But you know, it's fascinating. Um, like as you get older, like your ability to sort of hold on to those gains is nowhere near as like ironclad as you want it to be. Like you do find yourself like going, oh no, it turns out I actually am older than I thought, or as old as I thought. And it's just like a little reminder that memento mori is absolutely a thing. So there's that version of that guy. I'm going to shrink this one down. So we're getting there slowly. It's kind of an impromptu sketch jam. So this is what I like to call the CalArts Beanmouth version of the character. And this might actually be the version I end up going with. I'm quite certain the client is going to like this. I mean, if they don't, that's also okay. Like, I'm not like going to lose any sleep. If this version, this rough version, doesn't get picked up, because I can just draw another one. So by far the coolest part about having the ability to draw is having the ability to draw. Like, it exists somewhere between like a magic trick and a communication method for deciphering the universe in a way that language kind of can't really do. Not to the same extent. You must have a cup of tea. Slow and steady sort of wins the race in the end. Yes, tea, you must have a cup of tea. Kind of made him look a little bit like a baby version of Beetlejuice. Hey, how's it going? So I think this version is it's got like a little bit of potential to it. I think the client will like it. I think the other versions are just a tad too busy. You having a good day / night / evening, wherever you are at the moment? I mean, even living at this point in history, in Australia. Like, life is still pretty good, you know what I mean? Turn off this layer. Oh, the Chewbacca. Yes, I forgot to log in using this particular account to go and see it, but I'll tell you what, I will once I'm done here for tonight. Thank you for the reminder. Don't worry, I have actually have seen it, but yeah, I just check that out with a different account, the one I don't use for content creation. So this Mad Hatter's a bit on the how's it going side. I'm not too sure about that one. I think I'll put that one on ice for now. We haven't had a purple one yet. And I think this one is gonna be the definitive version that I go with. I'm also going to be revisiting the Chewbacca animation as well, so that'll be coming up pretty soon. Should be a bit of fun. because I thought about the whole what I did with the Chewbacca job, and I thought, you know what, I can actually improve on that. Because with the general idea, it was going to be for a music video, like an animated music video, where for the song by I think it's Timbuk 3. It's called "The Future So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades," and I'd have him like hanging his head out the side passenger side window of the Millennium Falcon, with his hair just like flowing in the breeze and his tongue lolling out like a dog, and him wearing a cool pair of sunnies. So doing alright, getting good grades. Future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Maybe make him a little less cross-eyed. Make him a bit more wild. Yeah, because he's got to be mad. He can't be like derpy. Ah, you must have a cup of tea. Gotta give him uneven teeth. Make him seem familiar but at the same time strange. Because that's essentially what you want from a solid character like the Mad Hatter. I just realized how much I've been out of frame and yeah, I think this version, the character sort of really hints at something friendly and not too serious rather than actually mad. I should preface by saying I've never actually read the book Alice in Wonderland. I've got a copy of it somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Oh. Yes. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. And it's fully illustrated, which is really cool. This is the old way it was written back in the day when Lewis Carroll was writing the weirdest kids book for the 1860s. It's interesting as well because back when it first came out, you know, it was essentially considered the brain rot of its day. You know how like you see like stuff on it's called like Italian brain rot and everything. And you think, you know, what are the kids up to? It's so silly. It's so pointless. It's like, why are you wasting your precious years of your youth on such trivial nonsense? But there is something to it, you know. That is sort of the permanently on crucible into which all the elements and factors of life are thrown to where we get culture from. And it's like, at some point, we do have to realize that we don't actually have to fight as hard as we might think for our right to party. Like, our ancestors kind of already did that for us. But in order to maintain our right to party, I think it's incumbent on us to make sure to keep that tradition alive. Okay, so I've drawn him a little bit wonky, and he does look more like the Babadook than he does oh, that really makes him look like the Babadook. Yeah, that's more like it. Yeah, we're closer than ever. So he's got butterflies all over his hat. So yeah, he does still look a teeny bit sinister. I sort of try to dial that back a little bit. Maybe make him look a little bit less, you know. Trying to get this nose right. So we've got a bulbous nose. Oh no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Gotta be, can't be too brutal when it comes to, I mean, you can with caricatures and stuff, but you can't be like, you know, too over the, well, like, yeah. So round him out just a teeny bit more. So you want to give him a solid silhouette. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and checking out tonight's stream. We got there in the end. We absolutely got there in the end. It took a few different attempts. It took a couple of trips down memory lane. It took a few minor distractions, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I got with these ones so far. So yeah, thanks to everyone who jumped into the chat, followed, liked, subscribed, all that fun stuff. Once again, guys, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to share, you know, the drawing and, you know, just the random musing thoughts and all that kind of flow state stuff that makes live streaming unique amongst entertainment forms. So yeah, in the interest of brevity and me trying to keep this to an hour and a half, I will